Hello everybody, Naughty Nantes. How's everybody doing on this Sunday? I hope everybody's doing well. As you can see the flag, it's just whipping around like there's no tomorrow. And it's almost like a fall day. Got a long sleeve shirt on me, but it's a little chilly willy, just saying. Today I'm going to talk about, I don't know if you guys noticed, the price of cheese, eggs, and butter got pretty cheap all through Kroger, Walmart, Target. I think there's a couple other places, some of the big box stores. I don't know if we'll Costco down there, but yeah, did you notice that stuff got really cheap? I'm just going to ask because I found the reason why. And they're blaming Canada. Well, not out in the news anyway, and Trump isn't unlocking his jaws about this, so you know somebody's in the wrong, and it isn't us. Just saying. But I have a little warning for my American friends, because this is something to think about the next time you go to the grocery store. Not trying to scare anybody, but I want to say thanks to Electric on YouTube and CBC's Mike Crawley for the information I'm about to give you. So have you noticed that milk and cheese seem to be really cheap right now? Trump says Canadian farmers are charging 270% on dairy. Nobody knows that, he said. They have up to 400%. They have a couple of tariffs at 400%. Well, Donnie, you made the deal with that was the best trade agreement ever made in the history of the United States. That was you. That was you. You, our past prime minister, and the president of Mexico. And you sat there all slapped the desk and held that up there. Best deal in the world, right? So if you're new to my channel, I want to tell you welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a lot of fun here. The best way to get my channel out there is to like me, love me, and share me. And please, you're here, subscribe to the channel. It's free. I don't have any sponsors or anything like that. It's just me and Vivi back there at the end of the driveway. Can you see her? Oh yeah, she's kind of looking this way. I guess she heard me call her name. So anyway, hangers on, I appreciate you coming back each and every time. I love your comments, and some of them make me roar. So thank you. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this on a Sunday. The Mango Moose Knuckle seems to think that we, Canadians, are milking the system and taking advantage of Americans. The Camusa trade agreement states that if you tried to ship more than 3.6% of dairy into Canada, you will be tariffed heavily as a way to protect our farmers from saturation in the market. And this goes back to the 70s. It's nothing new. Almost over 50 years. A system called supply and management. When it was brought into Canadian marketing systems, because there was a time when farmers' costs were going up, but prices were coming down, so they weren't getting ahead at all. So, supply management. So when the Camusa agreement was signed, it was written into the rules. One of the terms was a limit on how much American dairy could enter the Canadian market, and that was set at 3.6% of Canada's total dairy consumption, not just 3.6% of our total dairy consumption. Now, Trump knew that the cap was there, but he made the deal in season one, you know, the pilot season of treachery. But earlier this year, American dairy exporters shipped way over the 3% quota, and Canada put the penalty clause into effect immediately, and a 300% tariff was applied. When that happened, over $3 billion worth of American dairy was priced right out of our market and turned out and was turned away from the border. This wasn't done out of malice. They tried to pull one over, and we said, no, you broke the rules and you can't play. In my brain, it plays like Trump's Secretary of Agriculture said, let's just see what we can get away with. If they react, the shipment, reject the shipment, then we can say, see, Canada is charging us 300% tariff on dairy. When America was the one that broke the deal in the first place. You broke the agreement, Miss Agriculture Secretary. You broke the agreed rules, so you're going to pay the price. That's how our supply management has worked and is working for over 50 years. We don't fool around with this stuff. Our farmers are given production quotas so they don't flood the market. So there is no oversupply, no waste or very little, and no need for discounting. Yeah, that's a downside. However, the 3.6% limit is not a suggestion. It's a line in the sand. It's our red line. You cross it, you pay. The dishonorable part of this is when the U.S. dairy shipment was tested for quality control. It was found that none of the stuff in those shipping containers was fresh from the farm. It wasn't high or even mid-quality. It was old, nearly expired cheese and butter that had been rejected by other countries around the world. Most of that $3 billion shipment sat in cold storage for weeks and in some cases months. So when no one would take it, the American dairy folks decided to ship it up here to us and hope that those nice, polite Canadians would just take that shit and shut up. But although we are polite, we are fair, firm, and friendly, and we don't take well to being pushed around or screwed over. And we don't say no. We say, get the fuck out of here. The paperwork, freshness, quality, and ingredients were checked and found to be subpar and didn't meet any of our high standards or our safety precautions for food consumption in Canada. It's about protecting our own food system and our consumers. More than 200 shipping containers were sent back at customs before even fully coming into the country. And some of that cheese had been frozen so it wouldn't continue to rot in transport. A lot of the milk, cheese, and butter weren't labeled properly, and some of the American exporters tried mixing in specialty cheeses to try and zhuzh it up a little bit to make the old cheese look more appealing. That fooled exactly no one. Even the most expensive premium cheese was turned away because it was old. Our milk meets the highest standards. Canada has some of the highest food standards in the world. Dairy is especially tested. Every single batch is tested for antibiotics and growth hormones like RBST. They are completely banned in Canada, by the way. Each drop of milk is traceable, and we know exactly what farm it came from, almost right down to the time that cow was milked, and I wouldn't be surprised if they knew which cow it came from. That's how closely our regulations are checked. If the safety conditions aren't met, it doesn't get in, and there is no second chance. So no, Canada wasn't being difficult. We just won't accept someone else's sloppy seconds or old inventory. They tried to dump old product to a country that doesn't accept shortcuts. So now the backlash in the States comes down to dumping those products on unsuspecting American families. There were no buyers and mountains of milk with nowhere to send it. Now, do you remember back in July, everybody was complaining like, oh, why are the dairy farmers dumping milk into the fields? Because there was no place to store it, because $3 billion worth had to be stored someplace else in place of that. So there was no place to put it. In Wisconsin, California, New York, they had farmers that survived generations with ups and downs. Every farm does it, every farm. Now they're staring at huge losses. This was a system failure because the market was flooded with product already, and now it has all of this subpar product out there for my American friends to consume. That product has traveled the globe and has been rejected now from country to country to country before it finally came back to North America, and they thought they'd pawn it off on us. So it needs to be sold. So farm families literally seen their cows' hard work their hard work and livelihoods dumped in pastures with no returns on their dollars, and they took a huge hit. They're complaining to the Trump government, but you know how much they're going to get back from that. That's why Canada has supply management system to stop the market from being flooded and sharply cut waste. And Trump hates our system because we won't allow him to take advantage of us. He doesn't mind putting a 35% tariff on us, but we aren't allowed to defend ourselves and reciprocate, especially on stuff that was a free trade thing going on before, and then he slaps 35% and 50% on steel and aluminum. No. That doesn't wash. So now in stores, in the United States, like Walmart, Target, and Kroger, dairy sections are now brimming to the top with cheese, butter, and milk at hot deals, unbeatable prices, deep price cuts. So Trump can now say, see, I brought the price of dairy down 200%, 300%, 500%, 13,000%. That's what he's going to be able to say now. That big deal the Americans were getting were the very same products that traveled the globe and finally rejected by Canada. Aging stock, near or at expiration dates, no labels saying that these products were previously frozen. They were rejected or held for months. So families thinking they're getting a really good deal when already stretching the food budget is like calisthenics and strenuous exercise. They became the last stop in a broken supply chain and getting products the world rejected. Canada has a proven system based on precision, not volume. And of course, strict health and safety regulations. Our supply management system has 3 pillars: controlled production, controlled prices, and controlled imports. And production quotas are set for each province. And it's tightly managed. Have you noticed that there isn't a peep out of Washington about this? They are making out like this didn't happen. It's crickets. If the news did cover it, the Secretary of Agriculture, Brook Rollins, who handles USDA, and Robert Kennedy Jr., who has involved himself in discussions in all things dietary and dairy guidelines, may have to admit that $3 billion worth of dairy products were rejected worldwide. But the blame is on Canada because we have a supply management system that won't allow access, waste, and abuse of our food chain. So if you're wondering why you got cheap dairy right now, that's probably a reason. So I'm really sorry, because nobody should have to eat second-rate food from your own government. So I would be on the phone calling my representatives about this. I really would. So anyway, 99 loves you. Be good, be safe. Please take care of you first so you can take care of somebody else. Mwah. I love you all. Is that Ms. V coming up here? Yep, here she comes. Huh? There she is. She must have heard the clothes off. Anyway, take care of you first so you can take care of somebody else. And if somebody doesn't have a smile, for Christ's sake, give them one of yours, please. I mean, you can find another one. I'm pretty sure. Some people are that desperate that they don't have one and they don't think they can find one. So my American friends, please take care of you and check into this and talk to your representatives, both state and federal. This is bullshit and you shouldn't be subjected to it. So take heed. I love you all. And don't forget, if it's blue, it's true. Mwah. I love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.